My name is Oliver. I'm 28, and for most of my life, I've been the invisible one in my family. You know, the one people forget to text, the one left out of group photos, the one they remember when they need a ride or a favor, but never when it actually matters. I grew up with a mom who always had a sharp tongue and a selective memory. Somehow, she remembered every mistake I made, but forgot every award, every time I helped her, every birthday card I saved up for. I have a sister, Ava, who learned early on that playing perfect got her everything. She smiled, curtsied, got good grades, and got treated like royalty. I was the opposite, quiet, skeptical, too blunt for my own good. That didn't sit well with our family culture, where smiles were currency and truth was a nuisance. For years, I tried to earn my place. I brought pies to dinners I wasn't invited to, gifts to birthdays where no one noticed me arriving, and compliments to relatives who never said my name correctly. I played along at first, thinking if I just tried hard enough, they'd eventually see me. But by the time I hit 25, the veil had lifted. I realized my efforts didn't change a thing. My place at the table was never going to be permanent. Still, there's a certain kind of ache that doesn't fully go away, no matter how logically you understand it. So when Thanksgiving rolled around last year, I debated whether to go. My cousin Maya was the only person in that entire web of relatives who genuinely treated me like a human being. She was younger by 2 years, but more emotionally mature than half the adults in the room. We'd grown closer over the years, DMs, occasional late-night calls, honest check-ins. So when she texted me the day before Thanksgiving saying, "You better show up. You know I saved you a spot," I caved. I figured maybe, if only for her, it was worth showing up again. I drove the 40 minutes out to my uncle's house, where Thanksgiving was always hosted. Classic suburbia, manicured lawn, tacky inflatable turkey in the front yard, and that unmistakable scent of butter, spices, and tension wafting out the open windows. I parked in my usual spot, 3 houses down, because my uncle's driveway was always full when I came late. As I walked up the front steps with a bottle of wine I knew no one would touch, I saw them through the screen door. My mom, my aunt, my sister, my uncle. Laughing, talking, smiling like it was a photo shoot for Dysfunctional Families Anonymous. I didn't expect a parade or even a hello. But what happened next wasn't just cold, it was deliberate. As I reached for the doorknob, the door opened, just a crack, and there was my Uncle Ron, filling the frame like a human roadblock. He didn't greet me, didn't smile. He just looked at me with that smug little twitch in his mouth and said, "You're not family anymore, Oliver. You need to leave." At first, I thought he was joking. I actually laughed, expecting the punchline. But he didn't move. Behind him, I saw my mom pass 2 plates across the table, one of them with the name card I recognized. Mine. She handed it, laughing, to Ava's boyfriend, a guy I'd only met twice. They clinked glasses. My chair, my seat, was filled before I even got a foot in the door. "I'm serious," Uncle Ron added. "You showing up just causes tension." I blinked. "Causes tension?" I repeated. "I haven't even walked in yet." He gave a mock sympathetic shrug. "Let's not make this worse than it needs to be. Just head home, okay?" I looked over his shoulder, locking eyes with my mom. She didn't flinch, didn't call him off. She just raised an eyebrow and took a sip of her wine like she was watching a mildly interesting TV show. For a moment, I thought about fighting back, raising my voice, making a scene, but I didn't. Instead, I did something that caught even me off guard. I nodded. Calmly, quietly. I stepped back. I walked down those steps with the same bottle of wine still in my hand, got in my car, and drove 2 blocks before pulling over. My hands were shaking. Not with rage, but with something colder. Something more final. Because I'd seen all I needed to see. I wasn't family to them. I was a placeholder. A joke. A scapegoat when they needed someone to criticize, and an empty chair when they needed a space filler. But here's the thing. I had something they didn't know about. Months ago, I'd been slowly preparing for the moment I stopped trying. Something Maya and I had talked about more than once, over whispered calls and shared stories of being left out, overlooked, dismissed. She wasn't as loud about it, but she saw it too. The hypocrisy, the favoritism, the manipulation that danced beneath every family gathering. She once told me, if we ever wanted to break the illusion, all it would take is one spark. So I picked up my phone, opened the saved message. It had taken me weeks to write, to time it just right. It wasn't a rant or a guilt trip or some long-winded attempt at closure. It was just the truth, laid bare, sent to a very select group of people in that house. And I hit send. 5 minutes later, as I sat parked at the corner of their street, engine idling, I watched through the rearview mirror. The front door opened. First it was Maya, storming out, face red with anger. Then my cousin Daniel. Then his girlfriend. Then my aunt's best friend, the one who always brought dessert and had a soft spot for me. One by one, they left. I couldn't hear the words being shouted inside, but I could guess. The illusion was cracking. And that was just the beginning. Maya was the first to call. I saw her name flash across my screen before I even pulled out of my spot. I picked up, heart pounding, not because I was nervous, but because I hadn't expected it to unravel this fast. "Oliver," she snapped, not even waiting for me to speak. "What did you just do?" I paused. "You read it?" "Of course I read it. So did everyone else." Uncle Ron's face turned purple. "Your mom tried to play dumb, and Ava just stood there frozen like she didn't know what planet she was on." I could hear the wind rushing past her phone. She was walking fast. Maybe pacing. Maybe on her way to her car. Maya was quiet for a second, and when she spoke again, her voice had dropped. "Why didn't you tell me you were recording them?" That was the thing. A few months back, after years of being talked down to, dismissed, and lied about behind my back, I'd started collecting receipts. Not out of paranoia, but because I was tired of gaslighting. I'd record casual conversations, save texts, take screenshots. I had video clips of my mom telling Ava she should just take the credit for something I'd done. A voice memo of Uncle Ron saying I only showed up to family events for handouts, even though I never once asked for anything. And maybe the worst of them all, an audio recording from my birthday the year before, when they forgot I existed, even though I had been sitting right there at the table. That Thanksgiving message I sent. It wasn't just a note. It was a compilation. I had stitched together the greatest hits of family hypocrisy into a 5-minute clip. It had context, timestamps, and just enough raw silence between the insults to let it all sink in. I sent it to 7 people: Maya, Daniel, my Aunt Laura, my cousin's fiancé, my mom's sister, who had always been on the fence, and 2 family friends who'd always believed the curated version of the family that my mother and Uncle Ron sold like gospel. "I didn't tell you because I didn't want you caught in the middle," I said quietly. Maya scoffed. "I'm already in the middle. But I'm glad you did it." I exhaled, my grip on the steering wheel finally loosening. "Are you okay?" "I will be. I'm done with them." Click. I sat there in the silence of my car, staring out the windshield, watching as more cars began pulling away from the house. A few people stood on the porch, looking confused.